crazy inning right there. Callie made the great play to close it. How do you go evaluate that, as well as how do you play off of that?
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's a lot of positives to take from it. I think you're in a situation there, right, where you come into today and you have to avoid the sweep at any cost. And then, I think everyone's probably feeling it a little bit right there, where it's like, here we go again. We have another lead late in the game, and I think that's kind of how you have to get over that hump a little bit. Is you got to have a really tough one to break out of that streak and that little funk you're in, and that's exactly what we did. There was a really heads-up play by Braden, but even more impressive was Dylan Better. He comes into a situation and he, it gets close there. Kid puts Muscali puts a really good swing on it. He's a good hitter. Bases loaded, tying runs at third base with one out. He hits a kid with the breaking ball to load the bases. Then we come right back to it. He executes a really good pitch. I just think Dylan Better has been so consistent and so tough all year. It's been really impressive to watch him this season just develop from the role he was in last year, coming from a Division II school, St. Anselm, as a transfer. He's been really good.
Cool. And then overall, Fish, he had 4 RBIs in the day. Seemed very consistent at the plate. What do you take away from that?
Whether it's him, Luch, or Carlos, we have 3 really talented bats in the lineup, and Fish is just such a consistent professional hitter. Always puts together really good at bats. Every time he comes up to the plate, you feel like it's going to be a hard hit ball, a barrel. But yeah, Fish there's a reason why he's in the middle of our lineup, and he's been such a good player for us for 4 years. He's a special player for sure.
Zarnock in the first inning. Did you like what you were seeing, not like what you were seeing? That's why you made the change?
Yeah, I just think it was a situation where there's a really short leash there, and we didn't want to dig ourselves any kind of hole, and he did. To his credit, he got out of it in the first inning, and it could have snowballed really bad. And we had a quick leash and made a quick change to Dorito, and then Dorito just went into cruise control and did really well. And that last inning there, it looked to us like he got squeezed a little bit. But, he made one bad pitch, and the kid put a really good swing on and scored a bunch of runs, and Melissa's a really good hitter.
Yes.
So, but Nick was fantastic today.
The difference between the Friday night Dorito and the Dorito of today was what?
Throwing multiple pitches for strikes. I think, today we implemented his cutter a little bit more, which he was throwing really well. His changeup was competitive today, whereas on Friday he was kind of spiking it and throwing it, 58 feet. And his fastball command was really good. So when Nick's like that, he's one of the best pitchers in the conference, not even close. And that's why we brought him in Fridays, because that's the kid we expect to see all the time. But again, to his credit, mentally, competitively, you have a really heartbreaking kind of loss Friday night, and he comes back today and does what he does. So credit to him.
Was that the plan, to bring him in as early as you
Nope.
did?
No,
Okay.
definitely not. We would have liked to have stretched out Zarnock a little bit, but it is what it is. And then Dorito was a guy that we knew we could get a few innings out of for sure. I didn't expect to get as many as we did.
Right.
But
Was that kind of like batter to batter as you went along when you got past the third and fourth inning of him being in the game?
we were gonna take him out in before his second to last inning.
Okay.
And he came off the mound. He was like, I'm good. And we're like, all right, let's ride with him. We feel like he gives us the best shot right now, and he did. He was great.
This may have been the most important win you've acquired based on what could have happened and what eventually does happen.
Yeah, I mean, just to avoid a sweep is huge.
Yeah.
And it's now, we were just talking to the outfield, it's a situation where every weekend from this point on is going to be teams right next to us in the standings. So you always want to be in a situation where you control your own destiny and your own fate, and it's where we are. So we just got to play good baseball down the stretch here.
All right, so what does Merrimack look like for the week in terms of what you want to use in that game? Geisler,
Rourke. It'd be nice to get Foley back on the mound again. Obviously, we'll give Nick some rest, and we'll probably, get Zarnock back on the mound again, get him ready to go for the weekend. But it's a situation for us where we'll try to, our bullpen got a lot of work this weekend.
Yeah, right.
So, which is not a bad thing.
but at the same time,
yeah, but we'll have Geisler and Rourke will be the predominant two arms.
the good news is you've only got one midweek game. That is the good news. So you're not going to really extend anybody here.
No, and it's on a Tuesday, which is always helpful. You get some rest there, and then we go into a really, really tough weekend with Bryant.
Right.
at their
But
place.
it's a short weekend too, based on it being Easter weekend.
Yep. So we'll go single Friday, double Saturday.
Saturday.
And they're playing really well right now.
Yeah,
so
they are.